What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and today I made $2,346.42 day trading, and I want to explain exactly what I did to make that money so that you guys can learn from the profits that I'm making, because I think there's a lot of good lessons. And then I want to talk about the stocks that I'm going to be looking into for tomorrow. And again, this is not, you could buy this stock for sure and you'll make money, but there's gonna be some opportunities on these stocks. So if you guys are ready to take advantage of this, I think this video is gonna be really helpful. If you're looking for someone to tell you, buy this and it's for sure gonna do this, then this is not that channel. You can go watch someone else and, watch your gains bleed away, because it's a really ugly market out there. The overall markets were really red today. Again, over 2% down in the NASDAQ, and a lot of stocks were just bleeding off. If you turn into a bag holder, you're gonna lose money in this type of market. So I just want to really emphasize the fact that you guys need to be cutting those losses quickly, getting out of trades when they go against you, and taking your profits when you have them, because they are few and far between in a market like this. And taking profits is the way you get over 2,000 profits on the day like I did today. So I'm going to dive into my laptop and show you guys the charts for the stocks I'm going to be watching tomorrow, and hopefully you find this helpful. If you do, please go full Cuomo on that like button, and subscribe if you have not already. All right, let's do it. Also, I know some of you guys were asking for Mariana to be in the video. She's still at work, but this is the best I can do for you. There you go. I got you. All right, guys, so I'm here at my laptop, and I want to talk about something that's been changing a little bit within the panic dip buys, because they used to be a lot cleaner in general, and I feel like in March at least, they are very choppy almost always. I mean, I don't even know if we've had one this month yet, but what we used to get were these clean panics that went all the way down, and then they would bounce all the way back up. But now you can see here, if I zoom in a little bit, let me zoom in a little bit here. You can see we get some panics, and then they bounce a little bit, and then they keep panicking down. They bounce a little bit, and then they panic some more. They bounce a little bit, panic some more, and then they kind of find a bottom, and then they bounce a lot more. But the bounce is not quite as clean. So you guys need to be aware of this when you're dip buying these panics. And this is just something, again, you gotta factor in to your strategies, because the reason I was able to make $1,584 on this stock today, despite all these fake outs, was the fact that I know this is happening a lot. And because of that, I didn't go in huge here and hold through all this. I take some profits if I get a great entry, and I don't chase on these bounces. Now, something you have to keep in mind is that once it's failed a bunch of times, kept breaking down, I would say the more times it keeps breaking down, the more likely it is to actually find a bottom. And in this case, I mean, you can see here, let me zoom in just a little bit more. Oh my gosh, come on, baby. There you go. You can see here, I mean, it was kind of choppy. I mean, it bounced, broke down, went up, back down, and then from there, it actually found it. So, I mean, what is that, a double, triple bottom there? So you gotta be aware that this is a thing, and I need to work on my patience, because a lot of times things are not bouncing super cleanly, but once they find a bottom intraday, they make their way up a lot higher than you can get if you just hold until the first red candle, which is typically my strategy. So I'm gonna need to adjust this a little bit. I'm gonna need to work on my patience, and at least, maybe hold half of my shares. Once we get the first red candle or something like that, at least be a little bit more patient on it, because ultimately, you're leaving a lot of gains on the table if you're selling too early when it has a little bounce and then a bigger bounce. But be conservative on these bounces, guys. And again, I'm not going in with huge size on these like I was in February, which is why my gains are smaller than they were in February. I doubt I'll be able to have a $10,000 plus day in March unless we get some really good opportunities that I can go in big on, because I don't feel comfortable taking a $60,000 position on a mini dip like this when I know how much farther it can go. Now, again, luckily the executions today were better for me on this stock, except for one time in the middle of the day where I had a pending cancel for 15 minutes on this stock, and it locked up $60,000 of my buying power. So be careful for that. I don't know. Apparently, Fidelity, again, I learned this when I had my big loss on CCIB, but apparently sometimes orders don't automatically cancel. So they have a room full of people who sit there and click buttons manually canceling orders. And apparently those guys went on lunch break or something, because it did not cancel for 15 minutes, and then it finally canceled after I was waiting on hold with them trying to get that fixed. That would have been a nightmare. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But just be aware, guys. Be aware that there's some fake out bounces, and you got to be more careful. You got to be more careful, and you got to be more patient. Another example of one where this happened was ENZC. Very similar play. We get the first panic right out of the gate, a fake out bounce. The second panic, a fake out bounce. Third panic, fake out bounce. Fourth panic, it looked like it was finding a bottom there, but then it broke below. Maybe a new bottom? Nope. And then here's the new bottom, and it finally finds a bottom. So like the more times it breaks down and finds a newer low, I would say the more likely it is that that's going to be the bottom for the day. So you just got to wait and see, which is tough. I understand it's tough. And you can see, I mean, this goes on a really big run. We had some people in the Discord get in at 36, and this ran all the way up to 40, what is that, 42.5? That's pretty impressive. I mean, that's a nice little run. You take 10,000 shares, man. 36 to 42.5, what is that? $650 with 10,000 shares? That's a pretty nice run. That's a really nice bounce. But you got to be patient. You got to be patient on this. And there was another one, again, OZSC. This one I actually called out live, but I was on the phone with Apple, so I missed the big part of this run up. But it basically failed down. Let me zoom in, figure out the best place to zoom in here. Yeah, let me go like this. You can see it bounced, same thing, failed bounce, another failed bounce. I didn't chase this one, I missed the execution. It looked like it was making higher lows, and it was holding this support nicely. If I draw this this line here, looked like it was holding this support nicely. But then it just broke down under there, and when it broke down past the low of this little wick, you can see everyone had their stop loss there, and it panicked some more. And it felt like it just kept selling off. Finally, you get a big green volume candle. I actually totally missed this, which is on me. If I had seen this, I would have been more willing to take a position here. But this signifies that this is probably going to be the low of the day. And I think it ended up breaking under by 1/100th of a penny. So this was 12, and I think it ended up going to 11.99. But after this, it bounced, and then it was consolidating in this area. And to me, this is really good risk reward. This is really good risk reward. And risk reward is the thing that you want to focus on when you're trading. Because if you look at this chart, if you get in at 12.4, if it breaks 12.5, 12.6, that's a pretty good sign that it's going to keep going. What's your risk? If it breaks down under 12. So, I mean, you're risking, maybe there's some slippage, but you're risking, half a penny a share. And what's the upside? The upside is potentially all the way up here, 15s, 14s easily. So I got to have more conviction on this because I ended up buying some in. I think I ended up chasing. I chased a little bit. I bought some at 13, sold into that first spike, tried to rebuy here on the bid, but couldn't get filled, so I didn't chase. And then it kept ripping, man. I ended up buying more at 14, sold into that spike, but I didn't have the size that I should have had. You can see it ends up, creating new highs and then starting a downtrend here. But it's just something to keep in mind, When you see this and there's that great of risk to reward, there's a lot of upside and very little downside. If it's trading in a channel like that, it's better to take some size and just have some patience, man. It's better to have some patience. And I think the reason that I wasn't able to do that was because I didn't have a cushion of profits. If I had 5,000 profits on the day, I would have taken 100,000 shares here and been patient with it. But if I took 100,000 shares and then had to lose half a penny on that, that's $500 loss. And I was at 1,500 profits back in the morning when this was happening. So just keep that in mind, guys. You're going to need more patience. And on OZSC, the CEO today, he said his lunch went well with supposedly Tesla. I don't know what it's going to mean. Apparently, the reason the price has been down so much was because they had 120 million warrants. And warrants, they basically have no cost basis. So it's like people selling 120 million shares that they got for free. So you can imagine if I got 100 million shares for free, I don't really care if I'm selling it at 40 or if I'm selling it at 13 because I'm still making bank. So he says that issue should be done with. Again, I'm not sure how much I buy that stuff. I'm really not. I just want to see what's going to happen. But potentially we could get some big news coming up. He also talked about he has a call with BlackRock. That's a huge investing firm. He has a call with them on Friday, apparently. So we'll just see what happens. I think there's going to be some good things coming up for OZSC. If you look at this chart, it looks like they're still holding this downtrend. And this is from yesterday, but I can keep extending this. So once they break this downtrend, guys, I think it's going to see a nice pop to the upside. So we have to wait and see what happens. But I think we're going to get a lot of upside here. And the nice thing about it being this cheap right now is you can buy a lot more shares than you could back at 40 cents. So I can buy like, I don't know, what, 500,000 shares, 400,000 shares at this price versus I could buy like 150,000 shares up at 40. So it's nice to be able to buy that many more shares. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen with those. Definitely on my radar still. AITX. Again, guys, these are stocks that we're always watching. This one had a nice little run up, but then it just died the rest of the day. There's no way to profit on a stock like this. There's just no way. There's no way at all. NLST, I totally missed this one all day, guys, but it was holding a really, really nice uptrend all day. Closed at the high of the day, and I mean, wow, that's a nice chart. Now, is it a little overextended now, given the market? Maybe. That's a good amount of green days in a row. That's a ton of volume. So maybe it gaps up and has one more running day, but this should turn into a nice panic for us at some point. So honestly, I'm going to go ahead, add this to my watch list right now because I want to make sure I keep an eye on that one. But definitely be watching this stock, guys. If you're in the Discord, don't let me miss this if it starts panicking because it's going to be great. HCMC, this is, you can see here, it was my second best stock of the day. And this stock, it's been beaten down, guys. It's been absolutely beaten down. Had its first real green day with a ton of volume. This one doesn't really count. Less volume than all the rest of the days. So this had its first real green day with a ton of volume. So probably going to get a gap up out of this one tomorrow. But what I'm looking for are easy to read plays like this. And again, if you were in the Discord, I was calling these out live. But every single stair step, it's easy to tell when it's about to move up because there's like insane walls of buyers and sellers. So in this case, it was like 600 million sellers fighting 600 million buyers fighting 600, I can't even speak, guys. You know what I'm saying. 600 million buyers fighting 300 million sellers, and you see the seller wall slowly disappearing. 200 million, 100 million, 50 million, 25 million. You know it's about to break, so it's a pretty safe bet if you buy on the ask, and then it immediately upticks, and now there's a new wall. So kind of worst case scenario, you cut on the ask. And the best thing is when you get a nice run up like this, and then you get a dip, and it finds a bottom and is about to uptick. That's really good risk reward in my opinion. And I made $200 here. If I'd taken more size, I could have made $2,000 there. I just didn't want to give back profits on the day. But I'm definitely watching this one. I think it could have a nice continued run tomorrow. I don't even know if there's any news or if it's just the first green day after a bunch of red days. And again, look at this, guys. It broke the down channel. It broke the down channel. And I really think we're going to see something like that on OZSC coming up pretty darn soon. I'm trying to draw this. I mean, look at that. It held that down channel beautifully, and then it broke out past it and had a big run. So we'll see. I think this continues. I really think this continues. And if it does, it's definitely going to have some nice panic opportunities. Again, I already made like 1,000 on a panic before trading this. So you can take really big size on this stock, and that is what is nice about it. That's what I like about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. There were some stocks that I cannot trade that were moving a little bit today. LTNC was still moving. LTNC, it was still moving a little bit, but nothing too crazy. I think the play of the day was, what is that? Yeah, WSGF. And this one, I talked about it yesterday, I believe. It had a really nice yesterday, closed near the highs, gapped up, had a morning spike, went crazy, and then literally someone was just unloading shares all day long. This thing faded without a bounce to speak of, and I mean, just died. It just absolutely died. And this is a good example of when it's a good idea to short the break of the uptrend. When it's a good idea to short the break of the uptrend. And you don't know what I mean? Let me just show you right here. That's holding a pretty nice uptrend. If I extend this, how do I extend this? Come on, man. Extend right. Once it breaks that uptrend, it absolutely dies. So this is just another example of when it's good to short the break of the uptrend. And I'm definitely be using that strategy as soon as I get my new account up and running. Again, it should be on Monday, so I'm looking forward to that. OZSC, I talked about that. Forwardly, I was just flipping the spread on Forwardly. Forwardly typically has some big spreads. There's a lot of weird manipulation. Jane, market maker Jane, always is like playing games on this stock, so I'm not a huge fan of it. ALPP, this one I actually nailed the bounce. I got in here at 480 and I ended up cutting at like 479 because it broke down briefly under and then just went on a massive rip. So I should have made, a good amount on that, but I didn't, and it is what it is. But I cut losses quickly, guys, and that's how, even with not too big profits like this, I still end up with $2,300 on the dip because my biggest loss is only $69 on a ticker. My smallest winner makes up for all my losses, and that's how you got to play in these markets, guys. So hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully these strategies will help you be more profitable tomorrow. Again, play conservative. Try to be more patient and look out for those fake out bounces, guys. Don't go in with too big size and then take a big loss on a bunch of fake outs. So that's it. Hopefully it helped. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together.